My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake. Welcome, and good morning. Happy Thursday, happy South Lake morning. I am so excited to be here today. You know, for some reason, our guest today is Carey Baker. He is the Lake County property appraiser. I am just so grateful when I can get the elected officials to actually come out and be here at the studio with me. I'm not sure they understand how grateful I am, but I really do appreciate them because I know they're doing good work and they're working really hard. They have busy schedules. So I'm just really excited for today. You know, some of the other things we're going to talk about today is Techie Day. What is it? It's National Techie Day. You may not know that. We're going to talk about 2 really cool events. We're going to talk about a Cup of Joe taking responsibility for the future. You know, these are the things we're going to cover in the show today, but let me remind you that you should be with us today. You should be liking, loving, and sharing. You should like our Facebook page. As a matter of fact, if you're watching us and you're on the socials, like, love, share, leave comments. If you're not on the socials, like the Facebook page, go over to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get the message out. We are the wave of the future. We still have Spotlight sponsorship availability right here, your logo, permanently or temporarily. Call us, we'll work something out. With all that said, we've got to hear from our family of sponsors, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from them. I'm looking forward to getting into today's show, so come right back, don't go away, and I'll see you in a minute.
The best things in life aren't items we can grab and hold. They are the moments that grab and hold us. Moments that captivate us, inspire us, and enrich us. Moments that bring joy, strength, and peace. At Sing Insurance and Financial Services, we help you to treasure these times by being there when life's most difficult moments arise. Through our services, you will find independence, flexibility, health, and security that will prosper and protect your life. Whether you are driving that new car, buying that new home, opening that new business, or building a new family, we provide you the peace of mind and freedom to enjoy life's best things. Your next moment is waiting. Are you ready?
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Claremont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
Hello, I'm Mary Rhodes with the mortgage firm, your local mortgage lender. I've helped thousands of families achieve the dream of homeownership in Lake County, and I would love to help you. Our team has over 30 years of experience helping first-time homebuyers, veterans, move-up buyers, seasoned investors, and more. Please read our reviews and visit us at mortgagefirmpros.com.
Welcome back. Again, so good to hear from our sponsors. I love me some Mary Rhodes. I love me some Les Elliott and local pro wrestling. And I love me some Erica's Tea Room. So keep coming back and use those businesses. All right, let's get into the show. Today is Techie Day. Did you know, Jay, today is a day all about you?
Me, Joe?
Yeah, it's all about you.
All about me, Joe. I like that, Joe.
All about you. Actually, it's not all about Jay. I'm just playing with him. Techie Day. Techie Day can be a day that you celebrate the techies in your life. Certainly here, Joe's the guy comfortable in the front of the camera, thinking up crazy stuff to say. Jay is the guy that makes it all work.
And tries to maintain Joe's audio levels.
And tries to maintain my audio levels.
After my check, and then when he actually starts the show and starts talking at his normal levels. So.
I get this whole shot of adrenaline. And anyway, I don't want to get off on that too much, because Techie Day is actually a day that celebrates, that actually tries to celebrate and bring focus to technical careers and the future. It's actually a day designed to expose these careers to students. And I'll tell you, you need to tune in tomorrow, because we are interviewing Miss Nicole Marconi, who is the head of the high school high-tech program at Eastridge High School. It actually was an amazing interview, and we're going to have that on tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to that. But the concept is to expose these careers to students. And I'll tell you, I had somebody recently tell me, as far as tech companies, I said, I know tech is the wave of the future. I don't know if I could ever work in it. And this guy pointed out to me that people make the mistake of thinking that tech future is all about computer programming and being smart like Jay is, cobbling this stuff together. But tech companies need salespeople, HR people. You can get training and still work in fields other than actually computers for tech companies. So we're going to bring a light to that. Celebrate the day by exposing your students to tech careers. I also want to talk about a couple of really cool events coming up really, really quickly. Our guests have spoken about these in the last couple of weeks. The first one we have is Thrive Claremont has an adulting series coming up. These are for kids to learn how to adult. You can see, this is, I believe, their website. Is this their website, Jay? You can go to their website, you can pull this up, and this is actually a series of 4 weeks. You need to get into this if you're interested, because I know their spots are filling up quickly, and they are going to be very, very short of time. You don't want to get closed out. They'll have to be doing another one of these come the spring. The second event I want to talk about is, while this has all sorts of wonderful descriptions, this is, Glenn told us about a great seminar he's putting on with Splash Social Media, our dear friend Jackie Peterson, who will be back later in the month to talk about another subject. Tips and tricks for driving online engagement and other things. There's a lunch, Goomba's Pizza. There's a ticket price is $13. This is actually next week, but you can't get tickets after tomorrow. So you need to go online and get your tickets today, just to be safe. Okay. Finally, I want to talk. Here's our cup of Joe for today. I actually don't have any coffee today. It's my bad. Poor planning. So
you definitely can't tell, Joe, so it's okay.
Definitely can't tell. I need my acting skills. I had to go back to my Uta Hagen basic acting classes. We've been talking all week about taking responsibility, and today I want to talk really briefly about taking responsibility for the future. Now, frankly, you can't really take any of these things that we've talked about in isolation. Okay, you can't take responsibility for the future without taking responsibility for the past and the present. And the way you take responsibility for the future is getting deep inside yourself. The idea that as long as you do the right thing long enough, over time, good things will begin to happen to you. You can't really control whether you get hit by a car or a bad storm blows your roof off. You can control the way you react to it. And the truth is, if you do the right thing long enough, you can make miracles happen in your life. There's an awesome book out there written by Hal Elrod. I've spoken about him before, author of Miracle Morning. The name of the book is The Miracle Equation, and the whole concept is, if you have a driving faith in what you're trying to accomplish, and you add to it extraordinary action, which is doing the right thing, that over the course of time, nothing can stop you from seeing that dream. And that's the way that you take responsibility for the future. I didn't get to where I am today by doing the wrong things I knew were wrong once I learned they were wrong. I'm constantly adjusting my life so that I'm doing the correct thing to get to where I want to go. And that's how I take possession of the future. It's how I take responsibility. My future is my fault. My future is my obligation. And if you see your future as your responsibility, your duty, and your obligation, you will always be able to do the right thing. Well, that's it on that, and I am so looking forward. We are going to hear from our sponsors again. When we come back, we're going to have the Lake County Property Appraiser with us. My dear friend, Carey L. Baker. We're just going to call him Carey. He's sitting in the green room now waiting. We're going to hear from the sponsors, and when we get back, we'll have him. You should stay tuned. Don't go away. This is going to be fascinating.
Saturday night, October 5th, Claremont, Florida, get ready as Local Pro Wrestling presents Fight Fest, featuring 6 hard-hitting matches, including the Technical Alchemist, David Mercury, against Aaron Epic. In the semi-main event, a 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal, and former TNA superstar Mr. 630 Jarrell Clark. And the main event for the evening, former WWF WCW superstar, the Cuban Assassin, takes on the marquee Bruce Santee. Adult tickets are $15 and children ages 5 to 12 are only $10. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite. For more details, follow us on Facebook at Local Pro Wrestling or visit localprowrestling.com. Come support Local Pro Wrestling live.
The best things in life aren't items we can grab and hold. They are the moments that grab and hold us. Moments that captivate us, inspire us, and enrich us. Moments that bring joy, strength, and peace. At Sing Insurance and Financial Services, we help you to treasure these times by being there when life's most difficult moments arise. Through our services, you will find independence, flexibility, health, and security that will prosper and protect your life. Whether you are driving that new car, buying that new home, opening that new business, or building a new family, we provide you the peace of mind and freedom to enjoy life's best things. Your next moment is waiting. Are you ready?
Purchasing a home? Hi, I'm Mary Rhodes with the Mortgage Firm, your local direct lender for FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA mortgages. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or looking to purchase a vacation home, we can help. Visit our website today for more information.
And welcome back. Again, always good to hear from our family of sponsors. You should take your business to them. They're great people. We wouldn't have them on if they weren't. At any rate, I want to welcome my friend Carey Baker. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Joe.
How you doing?
I'm doing terrific.
Okay, so I was first met Carey some years ago. I think it might have been, how long have you been property appraiser?
7 years now.
7 years. It probably wasn't 7 years ago. It was probably 5 or 6. It was when you were new into it. And he gave a seminar at the Realtors Association. Thursdays we call it Homefront.
Sure.
We reserve it for housing and real estate. So he gave this seminar, and I was fascinated because there was so much stuff I didn't know about the property appraiser. And frankly, until that seminar, you were the bad guy, right? I was like, what the heck are you doing? You know,
Sure.
We're still in a down market. It was starting to turn back up. And so I really appreciate you coming out. I met him afterwards, and we've kind of touched base every now and then over the years. So a veteran. Well, let me go into his bona fides here. Today we have Carey Baker. He's the Lake County Property Appraiser. He is a member of the Sales Tax Advisory Board. He's co-owner of the A&W Peterson Gun Shop in Mount Dora. He's an assistant scoutmaster of Boy Scout Troop number 43. He's retired Army National Guard, 32 years, and an Iraq vet. And he's a former state senator. Now, what I think is really cool about Carey is we're going through all of these things. And, some of these guys are so humble, it's like pulling teeth. He mentioned the retirement from the Army and the senator after he talked about being an assistant scoutmaster. And I think that just says a lot about you.
Oh, thank you.
And why you're probably good at being a public servant. Because a guy that would say those other things first, they're really more about the titles. So let's get right into this. What is the role of the property appraiser?
Well, we do a lot, and it is a pretty cool job, and it does have a very important role. And I could wax eloquently about some of the coolness of this country. We were founded on property rights and property ownership, and I think it's really neat that the property appraiser plays a part in that. And we do that by transparently cataloging property ownership, size of property, and that's accessible to the public. So it's really sort of a neat purpose about ensuring that every property is cataloged and ownership is delineated legally, and that people know what they own, and that sort of. And now, of course, why we do that for government purposes is I'm part of the whole property tax process. So after cataloging all these 182,000 properties here in Lake County, I have to put a dollar value on it. Wow. And it's that appraisal by which the local governments, the county, city, and even the state attaches their tax rate, the millage. So that's how they get their property taxes, and I do the math for them. So we determine the value of the properties, and we subtract all the exemption values and the partial exemptions and complete exemptions and all that good stuff. And then when we give the cities and counties their total taxable value, they apply their millage rate, that's the tax rate, and then we do the calculations for them, and then we turn that all over to the tax collector's office, and he sends out the tax bills. So, and there's all, within my office, just quickly, we do mapping. So anytime there's a new subdivision, my mappers are mapping that out. We also, part of the property tax world is not just the real estate, the dirt and buildings, but we also appraise business equipment. That's called tangible personal property. So every business is having their business equipment appraised. And that's one thing that a lot of folks don't know about.
Is that part of the 182,000 properties?
Well, actually, no. That's an additional 35,000 tangible personal property accounts. And so think of the big utilities. Their value is not really in their land. It is in their equipment. Yeah. And it's multi-million-dollar equipment lines, transmission, power stations, all that we appraise as well.
Wow.
And so it's pretty interesting.
So, my next question is what's the purpose, but I think you kind of just answered that, is the purpose is so that we have a basis of value to assess the taxes from. Now, my next question is how is an appraisal done? But I want to preface this with being in real estate, I run across so many people that say, well, I don't want to improve that. They'll change my taxes. Yeah. It's like you're going to come knocking on the door the minute they see, a tradesman in their driveway, and it doesn't work like that.
Well, not necessarily. First place, most people that have a homestead exemption, besides getting that $50,000 off the value, say you have a $300,000 home, the $50,000 would come off, and then you're only taxed on the $250,000, not the $300,000. But also with that homestead exemption comes another provision, and what that does is we call it Save Our Homes. It caps how much your value can sort of go up every year. It's never more than 3%. So people really shouldn't worry. Once their value is capped, if the market value doubles, it doesn't matter. They can never go up more than 3% for taxable values. So we always encourage people I want the records right. And one thing we don't do is we don't go inside folks' homes. We don't go in. We do all our assessment from the outside. Nor do you want to go.
You're not tracking permits of what they're having done.
Well, we do track permits because when you When you expand the square footage,
Right.
when you add a swimming
Right,
pool.
that's a different story.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we do track those.
But if they're redoing a bathroom, you're not.
Yeah, we're not going inside. Nor do you want us inside.
Right,
Do you want a government person in your house?
No.
I don't. And so we don't. So we encourage people to
Unless he's
sort of,
my brother-in-law, and that's a
No,
different
that's
story.
and people knock down walls and change things all the time. So we sort of like them to inform us, do you have 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms? And really that doesn't even affect the way we do mass appraisal. It's not how many bedrooms you have. It's based on square footage. Mm-hmm. And so we're looking at all 182,000 properties sort of in a big mass sort of way. No office would have the manpower to individually appraise. We do take a look at neighborhoods, and that's how we mostly do it. We go neighborhood by neighborhood, doing a lot of averaging, a lot of analytical studies to ensure that folks aren't too high or too low, and we're darn close. I mean, when you look on my website and look at my value, you need to add a little bit to it because the law
Actually,
requires
we have your website up, and that's a good chance for us to take a look at this. If you look over to your shoulder,
You
there,
mean the easiest to use website
It
in Central
actually
Florida?
is.
That website?
It actually
Award
is.
winning. We won an award in 2015
Okay.
for my website.
Okay, you guys think we're joking, but the truth is, as a realtor, this really is a very easy to use website. I've gotten tons of information from, as a matter of fact, when somebody calls me up, the first place I start in my helping them figure out how to sell their home is going to the Lake County Property
Good.
Tax.
And listen, that's not by accident.
No, yeah.
We have spent a lot of time making it easy to use, ensuring that the information that's actually useful, that the citizen, that the business community, realtors, mortgage companies, other folks, that they have information on that property record card that they need to use and that they can find it.
Right.
And I have realtors and other professionals tell me all the time just how great our website is. And so we're very proud of it. And we're working, and we are, and we work hard every day to make improvements.
So where can you had started to say, refer to the website about.
The easiest thing is go Lake County Property Appraiser. Just punch Lake County Property Appraiser, it pops right up. Because it's got a weird website name. That's
Right,
not
right,
easy.
yeah.
Just Lake County Property Appraiser, and boom, that's the first one that shows up.
Yeah. You go to property search, and that's my favorite, is you have to agree to the things. Jay's walking through this. And if you see that, you can go by address, by owner name, and I recommend to everybody who owns a home, actually if you live in a home that's owned by somebody else, go there and get an idea of what's there, what's laid out. It really is eye-opening, and I can remember being amazed that this information was available. This wasn't a secret. I had to go bribe somebody for,
that's
you
right.
know.
And the cool thing, we also, when they check, if you're going to buy a house, I actually have a link to the local school. So for that home, I show where the bus stop is, where the local school is, the time of the bus stop pickups. That I show on that website, I show the closest local police station, fire station, closest hospital. I have links to all that. So everything that's associated with that piece of property or that home, I try to include on that property record card.
And as a realtor, because I can't legally tell people that stuff, or I'm not supposed to,
Right.
I actually refer. It's like the I can't tell somebody if there's a criminal or a predator next door. I refer them to FDLE site.
Yes.
Many times they're asking me about school. I don't refer them to the school board site. I refer them to the property appraiser site because there's so much information.
Sure. No.
So I did want to ask, how does an appraisal change? And I know that, is it an automatic change? If I buy a house, let's say a house is assessed at $25,000 and I buy that house, or $225,000 and I buy that house for $300. Is the assessment now $300 after
No.
I pay for it?
No.
So how do you change an assessment? Is it mostly trend?
It's all sales driven. Like, I don't determine the value. The market determines
Right,
the value.
right, the market,
And the
right.
market is based on sales. And you can never use one sale because, quite frankly, some people will pay too much for a house one time. Some people will pay too little. But when you start averaging all those sales, all of a sudden, you get a very accurate picture on average of what the homes in a certain neighborhood are worth.
It's very hard to beat averages, especially when you're dealing with the law of large numbers.
Right, but for you as a realtor now, if someone has gold fixtures and marble floors and all that fancy stuff, I don't know about that. But what we do, we appraise for tax purposes, And overall, we are spot on most of the time. We're very proud of how accurate we are. State law does require, for when I show the market value on that website, I do have to subtract 15% off the real world market value by state law. That's a whole different story. Mm-hmm. So if someone looks at my market value and adds about 15%, 15%,
they're probably pretty close.
Oh, they're going to be right on.
You know, and that's why there are so many. Actually, you know, a lot of state laws are dumb, but some make sense. And it's why, as a realtor, my opinion is it's a BPO, it's a broker's price opinion. People talk about the comps. And so I actually come up with an opinion based on saleability and value. And if I'm a smart realtor, I have relationships with appraisers, and I can see what something should cost. An appraiser actually is the only guy who can, a state licensed appraiser is the only guy that can actually give us a legal, for lending purposes, value of the home.
Right, and I can still tell you though, you could have 3 homes completely identical, and they all 3 sell for different values.
Right.
So it is still, at the end of the day, it's an art, not a science, and people need to be aware of that.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
I've had more than one upset at me. I was like, well, you know, can't do some things. We do have some options.
Sure.
Why did you become an appraiser? Why did you become the Lake County property appraiser? You're a former state senator. Obviously, you have a history of serving the community through elected office.
Well, here's sort of how it happened. When I was in the legislature, I worked with the Florida Association of Property Appraisers. And so I would carry some of their legislation that they want. And so I developed this relationship with a lot of property appraisers. And our at the time, our current property appraiser had publicly said he was retiring. And I had property appraisers from a lot of the surrounding counties encourage me to run. And they endorsed me. Now, unfortunately, the existing property appraiser changed his mind, and so we had a big election, and I won. But really, it was working with property appraisers. As on myself, my wife and I had done our own real estate investment, had been flipping some homes, so we sort of liked it. And so it was just a real natural transition for me to move into that.
And you had been aware of it because of your work in the Senate.
Oh, yeah.
Some of what went into it and how it was good or bad.
Right. And what's cool is some of the stuff that I passed in the Senate, I was able to sort of reap the benefit, benefit when I became a property appraiser. For instance, I'm required by law to examine every piece of property within a 5-year period. Well, let me tell you, that's very difficult. And we were only pretending to do that before. But I passed this law that said if you have a high definition photo, you can use that as your inspection of your property. And so now it used to take 2 appraisers in 1 week. They could probably inspect about 250 homes. Well, now I have 2 appraisers that sit behind these big screens, high definition photos that are on my website, and they're knocking out 2,500 homes instead of 250.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I want to take a little direction here, but I want to ask you, you mentioned something, and I wanted to come from your lips. So many people don't understand the homestead exemption. Can you give us a brief idea of what it is and what the purpose is? Well, the purpose is just really to give residents a break on their property taxes. As opposed to people who have a second home here.
That's right. And I have both. So my personal home, it gives me a break, it caps that increase. Now, if you have a home in another state, or even in Florida, you can't have 2 homestead exemptions. You can only have 1.
Right.
So
primary residence.
Your primary residence, that's right. And so that is the important. It's just, and that's why we have to periodically increase that exemption, because as values go up, if one day the average home is $1 million, well, are you really giving anybody any protection by only having a $50,000 homestead exemption? So we want to periodically, as the market increases the value, to increase that homestead exemption, just to provide that protection. And you really see the importance when someone becomes a senior and they're retired and they can't afford to see their property taxes double. You need to be able to cap it so it's just a smooth, small increase.
You know, one of the coolest things I found about that particular exemption, about that particular program, is there are additional exemptions for disabled veterans, for the spouses, the widows of disabled veterans, seniors who are disabled veterans. There are additional things for those in our community that need the exemption more.
And we try to make people aware of that. If you qualify for an exemption, I want you to have it. I can tell you that. And we work hard to ensure that.
What was the biggest surprise that you, if you look back to the last 7 years, what's the biggest surprise that you think you've gotten as a property appraiser?
Well, really just the difficulty and the challenge of keeping up with rising values or even keeping up with decreasing values. It is a challenge. It's not easy. When you have a responsibility for appraising every single property every single year, that's tough.
And you have a staff that you have to lead in that too. It's not just you figuring it out. It's you figuring out a system for your whole staff to do.
It's
right?
all about the staff. I mean, one thing I brought from my years of experience running my own business and is that you have to have people that are empowered, that are qualified, that are customer focused, and you put the right people in place and you let them do your job. I mean, my job is just to support them, to manage them. I have highly qualified folks doing appraisals that are much more qualified than I am in that particular job. And so my job is to support the folks, put the right people that can do the right job, and to ensure, most importantly, that they know at the end of the day we work for the taxpayer, that we work for the consumer, the customer. And so you get that type of very customer-friendly service with highly qualified personnel in my office.
It's a great office. Whether you show up or whether you call or you're using the website, it's a great office to deal with. Let me ask you this. What's the biggest personal lesson you think you've learned in your 7 years?
Well, I think this is the first time I think I've walked into a job that I knew as little about it as I did. Most of the time, like in the Peterson gun shop, my daddy brought me in that shop when I was 11 to sweep the floor, and I learned that business starting at 11. And then I joined the military. 32 years. I joined like you did the Marines. You come in as a private.
Right.
And so I had years to prepare myself. Well, here, as much as I knew about real estate, that's not the same as knowing how to run a property appraiser's office. So I guess I wasn't surprised, but that definitely was an incredible challenge for me. And that's why I just made sure that I had the right people in the right positions, folks with experience. And they have, I tell them every day, we get these customer cards and people will say, what a great job my staff are doing. And so I'll tell them, I go, listen, you're going to get me reelected. You keep doing this, because it's really about they are the face of the office. They're the ones that do the job. They're the ones that treat the customer well and solve problems. And so if we're doing that, we are successful. I'll be successful. And so
when do you come up for reelection?
It'll be next year.
Next year?
Yep.
Well, we'll look for your campaign.
Yeah, thanks.
Carey, I want to thank you for joining us. If there's anything you'd like to say to the audience, this is your camera right here. Tell them how to get in touch with you or something they should do.
Well, of course, Lake County Property Appraiser's office, just Google that up. We'll pop right up. but I want you to remember a couple of things. One is, if you buy a new home, you can file online. Go to my website. It takes 10 minutes. You'll save $750 a year. It's awesome, easy to do. And also, I have a tax calculator. If somebody's buying a new home, put the value that you're purchasing the home in the tax calculator, and it will very, very accurately determine what your tax will be when you buy the house. And that's very important.
I like that. New tool even for Joe. Thank you for joining us. Once again, an amazing guest, an amazing servant, elected official. This is why I like focusing on them, because you just gave us a leadership lesson as well as tell us about property appraisal. I said we could have a whole new episode about that. At any rate, I'd like to thank Carey for coming. If you know somebody that should be a guest here, an elected official, a teacher, a student, a business owner, a nonprofit, let me know. Reach out to me. I'm sure Jay has the information up there. You can either call me, text me, or email me. If you know of somebody who should be sponsoring us, because we do provide a community service here, or if you yourself want to be a sponsor, I still have that spotlight position open. We have a couple of partnership of situations available, so please reach out to me. You can reach out to the station if you need to. And finally, I would like to remind you that there is greatness inside you. As always, just like our guest has done, allow your greatness to shine today. I will see you tomorrow with our amazing interview of Nicole Marconi, a high school high-tech teacher. I'll see you tomorrow, and I love you. Bye-bye. My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake.